How will divorce affect my children? Hi, I'm Bill Farias, founder of Farias Family Law, and I met with a gentleman a couple of weeks ago, and he's pretty sure he wants to get divorced, but he's hesitant because he thinks it's going to be very disruptive for his children. And so we got to talking about the pros and cons. And that led me to record this video to talk a little bit about some things you might want to consider when you're contemplating divorce, but you're not sure what the impact will be on the children. So the first thing that I think is worth discussing and is very, very important is that there are a lot of people that with the best of intentions do not get divorced, but instead stay in an unhealthy relationship because they fear that the change will be too disruptive for the children. And so in other words, they would rather stay in a dysfunctional, intact home than split up that home and end up with two households that the children are going to spend time in. And I want to caution you against that approach. Of course, it depends on the extent of the dysfunction in the home, but if children are living in a home that is lacking in trust, in respect, in love, then children will sense that. And you have to remember that you are modeling for your children whether you like it or not. And so worst case scenario, if it's really bad and there's conflict, you're risking causing psychological harm to your children. That's very difficult to measure. But even when there isn't outright conflict, if there is that constant strain and tension, and there isn't love and respect and trust, then your children are learning that that type of relationship is normal. And so the question you want to ask yourself is, if your children find themselves in a similar situation where they are not happy in their relationship, do you want them, should they just stay in the relationship, or should they make a move to pursue happiness and stability? And so that's an important thing to think about, because there are parents that have the best of intentions and they don't want to disrupt the kids. They don't want to move them to a different house. They don't want them going to a different school system. And that is understandable. But you have to weigh those cons against the benefit of removing children from an unhealthy atmosphere and environment. And again, that's a matter of degree, whether it's just some strain and tension and you're not getting along with your spouse, all the way to outright conflict, which is an easy answer. Obviously, when it reaches that point, you don't want the children in that environment and it's detrimental to them. But regardless, if you're in a relationship and you are not on the path to fixing it, then you have to consider whether it actually is beneficial for the children to stay in that arrangement. And so I think it's really important to consider that. You also want to consider, obviously, if you make the move, that the finances are going to be impacted, that the children will be spending a certain amount of time with the other parent. It's certainly a different life in the sense that the children will be, in many cases, going between two homes rather than being in a single home. But I think the most important thing to do is to really think about the atmosphere and the environment they're living in. And you want to weigh the sort of lack of disruption if you keep them in that environment with what you are actually paying in terms of a price on the kids' well-being and their overall mindset and what they're learning as they're growing up about relationships and how they work. And so there isn't a simple formula for this, but you want to consider how it's going at home, whether it's a healthy atmosphere for them, whether you're modeling the type of relationship behavior that you want to see them follow, and you also want to think about, obviously, what life is going to look like once you split if you decide to go that route. What is the parenting plan going to look like? What are the finances going to look like? And that's something that an attorney can help you nail down and start planning for. So if you have any other questions about this, you can call us 508-675-0464. You can email us at info@fariousfamilylaw.com. If you found this helpful, you can subscribe to our channel, share it with anyone you think might benefit from it, and you can find us on social at Farious Family Law. Thank you. Have a good day.